Which is not fun driving the canyon and without the trucks and at least the weather should be not
At least
that
no
bad.
snow, right?
It's gonna snow tomorrow. Tomorrow Wednesday.
Tomorrow is Wednesday. Yeah.
Yeah, Wednesday and Thursday I think it's supposed to snow.
I'm sorry you're not feeling well. You had the flu?
I think someone from Anna chapter
Oh no.
got
Really?
me sick. We were coughing and hacking. They passed me the mic.
Oh,
They passed you the mic? Oh no. There were so many kids sick a few weeks ago. They had like 100 and some kids out of schools. Uh-oh. Do you need another one? Let me look under your... Did you put it in your pocket?
maybe I have it in my pocket now. Can you see my pen? Just keep moving.
Yeah, people coming in.
Do you want here? Let me give you another one. I just have a pencil though. You're okay.
My pencil.
Oh, here. I've got a pen.
Thank you. Thank you. I guess still morning, so good morning. We'd like to call the meeting to an order. Today is February. Oh, that's my glasses.
18th.
It's February 18, 2025. The time is 11:02. And we'll have a roll call. Commissioner Mann,
Here.
Commissioner Harvey,
Here.
Commissioner Staff's here. It's customary for us to ask somebody to give an invocation. So we have any volunteers that would like to give us the invocation?
I can do it if you want.
Thank you.
Our Father in heaven, we're grateful for the opportunity we have to meet together as communities and as a county. We're grateful for those who have are taking on the leadership roles and administrative roles, and for the public who are in attendance or are paying attention to what's going on in the county. We're so grateful for the weather we've received. We pray that that will send us more moisture. Father, we're grateful for this land of liberty we live in, and we pray that that will open our hearts and open our minds, that we can make all the best decisions for the county as a whole. And these things we pray for in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Would you stand up and join us at the Pledge of Allegiance? We'll have Lyman Duncan lead us on the pledge.
Pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, anybody has any conflict of interest in the agenda today? Do you have any conflict?
I do not.
I've no conflict.
I
I've
don't-
reviewed.
I don't have one either. Okay, the next item in the agenda is the public comment.
Okay. Public comments. There was nobody signed up on our public comment form. If you're here to make a public comment, we'll give you 3 minutes to make a public comment. We do have an individual online. With that, if you do want to make a public comment, just come up to the podium and state your name and where you're located in the county. Not seeing anybody jump up here. So with that being said, we'll turn it online. If you're online, you can go ahead and mute yourself if you're wanting to make a public comment. Not seeing any movement. Commissioners, that is your public comment period for today.
So the next item in the agenda is the consent agenda, and we'll have Matt
Okay.
tell us about the consent agenda. And
So on the consent agenda, let me blow this up just so you guys can see it on the TV. So Item number 1 is approval of $167,200.20 in small purchases. You have $1,725 for the annual membership for San Juan Visitor Services. You've got $12,188.50 for a diesel 6 kW LED light tower for emergency management. $146,896 for the 2026 Peterbilt 567 hook chassis X15 truck for the San Juan County landfill. You had seen that in the commission meeting. You have $3,355.70 for a truck ranch hand front bumper and grill guard, and $3,035 for a Reman inject pump for the San Juan County Road Department truck. Item number 2 is the approval of February 4th, 2025 Commission work session minutes. Item number 3, approval of the Community Library Enhancement Fund grant contract between San Juan County and the State of Utah Department of Community and Cultural Engagement. And item number 4 is the approval of the check register for January 31st through February 14th of 2025. That, Commissioners, is your consent agenda items for today.
So we have a motion.
I make the motion to approve the
Commissioner Harvey makes a motion to
consent agenda.
approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Second. All in favor say aye.
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 Okay, the next one, we have recognition presentation.
Just a quick reminder that you were sent a digital contract to sign in your email.
Yeah,
The state library requires that to be signed digitally, just letting you know.
yeah, I noticed that. So,
Okay.
yeah, thank you. Okay, so the next item on the agenda is recognition, presentation, and informational items.
Okay, then today we have a presentation for the Public Awareness Committee of the Citizens Report. We have Dr. Shannon Brooks here from Latter-day Saint Home Educators.
I have no idea what that is.
Me neither. Rosa. Okay, so we'll turn our attention over to you.
I thought we made a
I was,
mistake.
I was a little surprised
To
to find
me-
out that I was involved in another organization.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Sorry, I didn't
Thank
get
you.
these into the packet, but
Thank you.
I've got one left. Is this go to you, Mac, or to?
Go to Lyman. Lyman will keep it for the record.
Okay, well, thanks. I want to recognize other members of the committee. We've got Dave and Sarah Goodman and Marjorie Mon, who you all know as well, who's not here. Okay, well, thank you for acknowledging us. We were in attendance at the January 21 meeting, County Commission, and it was good entertainment, at the very least. And during that meeting, we asked for, and you all consented to give us a 5-month reprieve on the 2025 ordinance for the county, and we really appreciate that. And in return, we promised that we would organize, and we would go out and start to inform and educate and those kind of things. And so what we're giving you right now is just a report of what we've done so far. Okay, it's been almost a month. As you can see in the first page, this is the notice that we sent out. We've done the first 2 meetings in LaSalle and in Eastland. We had 40 people show up in LaSalle. We had 20 people show up in Eastland. Next week, we have 3 more meetings, and we'll finish that first round of meetings. And then we have meetings scheduled for March, April, and May as well. Follow up. Huge amounts of communication. It's taking a lot of our time and effort as volunteers to do this, but I think it's paying dividends out in the public. It is interesting, Mac, you said this was going to happen, and it did. We have to identify that we are not from the county at every meeting that we go to, because they all think we are. But I have to point out that when we do that, the crowd just settles. So there's some apprehension for some reason, and that's sad to me that that's happening. So, but it's also good because they feel like they're talking to their neighbors when we're talking with them. So that's good. Okay, if you go to the next page, page 2, it says Public Awareness Committee of Citizens. That's a really dumb name, but it does create an acronym of PAC, and we kind of like that. So, so this is what it looks like in our presentation. This is the first slide that you see in the presentation we give. And if you notice, it's a 4-part presentation. We have an opening, which is some education just in general on purpose of government, that kind of thing. And then we go through the CLUDMA and the LUDMO. People are super appreciative of us going through. It wasn't dissimilar to what I saw Kristen do last night, but it's much more in depth. And because of my teaching background, you just say things over and over again until you know that everybody's getting it. And they seem super appreciative of that, taking the time to go through that. And then we do a side-by-side of 2011 into 2025, and then we do questions and answers. We do not record at these meetings on purpose. We want them to have trust. We want them to feel like that, something they say is not going to get used against them or whatever down the road. If you go to the backside of that page, I wanted to point this out, and I thought it was interesting that you made the same, Commissioner Stubbs, you made the same comment to me last night. And so this is what I start out with teaching folks, or with these presentations, is over the past month on several occasions I've heard people say that we trusted our county planning commission or county commissioners to do their job, and they're saying it in a kind of a blaming way, like, you should know what's right for me and you should always do what I want you to do, even though we've never communicated, right? And so what we say is, okay, yeah, sure, that's fine, but as citizens, as in a democratic republic, we also have a side to do on that. And that is, we support our representatives, we trust and verify, right? That was Ronald Reagan's big statement. How do you trust and verify? Well, you get people in office and then you go to meetings and you interact with them and you tell them your concerns, and you're putting some time into this. It's not just elect somebody and then walk away for the next 4 years. And that's being received fairly well. Wouldn't you guys agree with that? Because we're kind of coming in at this not as officials but as neighbors, we can kind of say, hey, you're not doing your side of this. We all need to step it up. And they're like, yeah, you're right. Okay. So we see that as real positive. Where we're getting tons and tons of feedback. That's Sarah's job. She collects all this feedback and putting it all together. So next, when we come to planning commission meetings, we can then share all this. Instead of 14 people saying the same thing, it's all condensed. And we have more time to talk them through it, to get the nuance of what they're saying. I found it kind of comical last night that we tripped over the word shop, right? And people were starting to get anxious about that. It's just a communication. It's nobody's fault. We come from different places and we have different definitions. So that's really important. One of the things that we're kind of seeing out there is there's a sense of, is San Juan County, is it the government or is it the people? And I would say that most people in San Juan County that we've talked to so far kind of feel like it's the government, and they don't like that. But when they say that, I say, okay, so what are you doing about it? And the answer is nothing. I talked to a commissioner last night, and somebody got really in their face and then walking out said, I haven't even read the document. Well, then why are you complaining if you haven't read the document, right? So that's kind of silly. Okay, we did identify, and I brought it up in a work meeting, but I'll bring it up for this meeting for the record. I've had conversations with Mac. I've talked to Kristen. We haven't solved the communication thing. I was really glad to see you guys talking in the work meeting about, yes, we've met legal requirements, but we're still not communicating. So doesn't matter that we met legal requirements. We've got to communicate. So we're going to help with that, and we're creating a database. I'm really excited about this notice thing, if we can figure out how to sign
I
up.
figured it out.
Okay, so we need to spend a little time, because I'm going to create instructions, and I'm actually going to include that in my presentation of here's how you do it. We'll have printouts we give to people so they can take home, and then we'll follow up in our emails to people, have you signed up? Because that's going to solve 90% of this not communicating thing, right? Okay, on the next page, the next few pages, I just printed out a little bit of this. This is our side by side. So we took the green is the 2011 and the white is the 2025. You can see there's the title page, and then go to the back side of that page. You can see the table of contents. So those are matched up. Next page says page 4 in the white there. That's definitions. We're just showing you that we've gone through. When you take a 40-page document and try to match it up to a 129-page document, it doesn't match up real well. But we did try to get the main headings together. If you go to the back side of that page, you see there's some definitions there. Go to page 24. That's the next page. Chapter 1, general provisions. In the new one, chapter 2 is the general provisions, but we went off the titles, not the chapters, so they match up properly. This document is in PDF format, so we're sending it out to all of our people. First of all, we walk them through. We probably spend a half an hour walking them through, showing them how to use the thing to find information. And then we walk through a little process of how to use it. This allows people to take a really good view, and you can search with any word up in the search part of a PDF, and it shows you all the times that word shows up in both documents. Very, very helpful. Now, will people use it? I don't know, but we're challenging them to. We're challenging them to read the entire ordinance. I don't think it's enough to read just the section that might apply to you in this moment. I think you need to read the whole thing so you get a perspective. Are people, are San Juan County residents intelligent enough to read that ordinance? Yes, they are. Are we taking the time to do it? No, we're not, because that's not our culture, so we're trying to change that culture, okay? By the end of February, we'll have 5 meetings done, and then we're gonna meet with Kristen first week of March, setting that up right now, share all of our findings, and then we'll continue to report back to you as well. The last thing I wanna show you, if you go to the last 2 pages, this is an extracurricular activity, if you will, in line with this. In my 32-year career in higher ed, my specialty has been original American culture. Original American culture is based on 5 ideas. Georgics. Now, just in your mind, think when I say these things, if you actually recognize them, because most people don't, because we don't teach them anymore. Haven't taught them for 100 years. Georgics, Liber, Providence, Public Virtue, and Liberty. And the reason we're teaching this program right now in as many places as we can is the more that we understand the original American culture, what made America this great, great nation, we can apply those very same principles to county. And when we apply them to county, you're going to see us all coming together. A lot of this is citizens step up and be responsible. We have created a culture. It's got to be incredibly frustrating for you to sit up here, have responsibilities, and nobody shows up. Over and over and over again. Oh, and then when you pass something, then they come back and complain and whine and scream and pitchfork. That's got to be incredibly frustrating. But you have to admit that we don't teach public involvement much in our schools. We don't teach it anywhere. So that's what we're trying to hope that this will do. It's called a colloquium. A colloquium is just a study group, a reading group together, just discussing what you're learning. So that's a thing we're doing as well. That's the extent of the presentation. Anything else, you guys? Any questions from you?
Well, I just have the appreciation for what you're doing. And another thing is that we need people to get involved in those committees and things like that. We have lots of good people serving, but sometimes we don't get involved in serving, and then we see things through different lenses.
Yeah.
And so the more we can get on the community and participate, this opportunity to serve. And that's one thing we notice. We take a lot of volunteer in our counties, in our cities. Lots of the things that are accomplished in the county, like hospitals, everything came from people volunteering and starting things. But nowadays, because of the economy and different reasons, people are more preoccupied with good things, families, jobs. Some people have 2 or 3 jobs, and so it's just right. I talked to 2 young men that were at the blending meeting, a 20 and a 22, And I said, you guys have to get involved. You can be in this board and this board. And they were so excited, you know, and I think we need to prepare the future. I mean, we're gonna, like they said, won't be here, but we need our population, especially the youth, that they can understand those American values and
Yeah.
it will make this nation a great nation, and you know how to get involved. And the volunteer is a way of serving children, doing good things happening. So I've been dreaming of an opportunity to have young people come together and start, you know, learning.
Yeah,
And,
absolutely.
you know,
Absolutely.
thank you so much.
You bet. Any other questions? No?
I was just going to say thank you for your work. I think getting the citizens involved is key to finding out what the input is, because a lot of times, you know, in the public, we've had this, well, I just don't like it. And that doesn't help us at all.
It doesn't,
That,
right.
that does nothing to help us.
What happens when your kids say that, right?
Exactly. So narrowing that down, and to the Goodmans for being so involved. I've seen you at all the meetings, and I appreciate, especially for not being citizens originally from San Juan County, and to come in and take an interest, a vested interest in this county to make it better. So thank you. And we look forward to you working with Kristen and the information that will come back. And then lastly, if I would love to see the PDF, if you would email it to me.
We'll get it to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yep.
That would be great.
Now it is outdated because as we're making changes,
sure.
but we'll keep updating it and keep sending it out.
Even just the side by side would be so.
Yeah.
I mean, I go from the front of my book to the back of my book, so it'd be
And,
really
and I have to be honest, it was Nels Jensen,
Jens Nelson.
Jens Nelson, who suggested that we do that.
Yeah.
So
that's
we took
great.
him up on it, and it's very helpful, extremely helpful. You can't look at trying to do land use with the 2011 is impossible.
Right.
That thing, you just end up shooting it because it's so horrible. So what they've done now is fantastic, light years ahead. But but we'll get there, and we're just going to keep doing this, and we hope that if we get to June and we're not quite there yet,
That will give you more time.
that you give us more time.
That's how I said
Once
this
we're showing
morning.
that we're doing this, because getting this right, this is
that's
super
time.
important.
Yeah.
Super important. It's one of the number one ways to get more people into this county and to bring more economic development in this county is to get this ordinance right.
Yeah, it's very important.
And
That's some of the comments we made this morning is the rush. You know, as a commissioner, I felt rushed. We had to do it
That's right.
fast. And so, but you know, I appreciate what you're doing because last night, okay, you were in the blending
Right.
meeting. And last night, what was the difference? Most of the people that were there, they're being involved, they're being educated. The blending people
at the one
were
last night, yeah.
afraid. That's the first time they didn't even read the stuff like they
Right.
say.
right,
But they were like the meeting, the first meeting we had here when people were kind of a little upset. Well, that's the group that was coming. And I know them. They're people that I associate for many, many years, and they're good people. But they had that fear and lack of knowledge sometimes. And then we pass it, you know, we had the way we communicate, we tell things, and by time, we used to say, me and Hassel, if we start a news in this side town, we can see how we're beat to this. By the time it get back to us, it'll be
Right.
totally different.
right,
So,
right.
anyway, so I think last night it was such a example of what is the difference they make. Yeah, you guys have good questions, and when you had some comments, that you went outside in the hall and you had your,
Right.
you know,
Yep.
whatever you needed to discuss, and you came back maybe more with a smile, more happy than probably trying to do it in person there. But
Right.
but you can see the difference. We appreciate that.
Okay.
And I agree that we need all the time to make it right. You know, that people can feel, you know, good about it.
Yeah, if we're putting the effort in,
Oh,
let
yeah.
us continue. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's all I'm
Yeah,
saying.
and I agree with you. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay, now we're gonna go into the business action.
Okay, item number 6 on here is consideration and approval for the 2025 Memorandum of Understanding and Letter of Support between San Juan County and Weaver State University's Wildcat Micro Funds Program. Talia,
Hi.
how are you today?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Doing good.
Good. I'm excited to kind of bring back some of the stuff that I'm working on, and you're going to see me a lot. But one of them is, so I've been doing business questionnaires throughout the county, and I also have the SED board that helps with the economic development, helping me reach out to the community to get the questionnaires. And one of the big things that we hear is we really need more technical assistance that's in person. So we don't have an SBDC that's local. And then also that we need funds that are here to help our businesses grow, so more grant funding. And I'm really excited. Catherine Holbrook Clark from Weber State University reached out. They had been working in our county before to have the Wildcat funds here, which is a micro fund where our business owners would be able to go through the application process, do a quick presentation, and then they can be awarded up to $3,000 for their business. And it's a really big deal because they also really listen to what we were telling them about our area, and to make sure that we were able to include the chapter house areas, which I am super excited about too. And this memorandum of understanding is they were able to get an EDA grant. That EDA grant would pay for an in-person technical assistance here in our area. We'll be the ones that manage that. And then in order for us to do that, we'll have it for 3 years. And my goal is that we can create a technical assistance program in between that time that's more permanent through one of the organizations that we have locally. And for us to be able to do that, we did need to do part of a match. I'm very excited that the business hubs that we've worked on to create throughout the areas were willing to do the match for us. So they're matching their facilities for the technical assistants to be able to go in each of those locations. And they have a training room that they can use. And they also have office space that the person will be able to use to do one-on-one consulting. I'm working with the chapter houses because they themselves are working to create business hubs within their chapter houses so that that technical assistant could then go to the chapter houses directly also. And then on our end, we would be using hopefully I can find other funding, but we'll use a little bit of that funding for the travel costs to make sure that we can continue to execute this. But this is something that we have from the EDA for 3 years. So I'm super excited about that. What's it?
Me and Talia, I think somewhere we have some DNA in common, I think. Because I came one day and I told Matt, guess what? I was just working with somebody on the Wildcat. Talia's already doing it. Oh, okay, so I called her. Guess what? We already have it. Okay. But lots of time, I had decided, I said, yeah. So we kind of put a fence between the two so we don't keep jumping over. But
I have to tell you how thrilled I am how involved all of you guys are in helping me through economic development. And I have so many little projects that we're each working on together. And it's exciting, especially new, to have help and excitement and goals, and also even just help on the ground getting some stuff done. So thank you for your
Well, I have worked with grants in the past in my former life, and I look at your presentation, at your documentation, how good it is. It's just well documented.
Thank you.
And when we write grants, lots of people write grants. And lots of time over here, I saw lots of people coming, presenting grants and grants and grants. And having managed grants, one of the things is staying with it, with whatever we said we're gonna do, because it's affect us when we don't do our reports and things like that. And so you are really good at this, and
Thank you.
And I always try to emphasize as people come with grants, trying to figure out sometimes we may have too many that we can't manage anything. Then pretty soon we have a fame that we don't do things.
Yeah.
But you make us look good, so thank you.
Thank
This
you.
one, in just kind of when you look at the overall picture, USU has been a great partner with us, and they were a partner with Wildcat Program initially, and then As USU gets new presidents, the focus changes and everything, and so they had kind of removed that SBDC, the Small Business Development Center, from Blanding, and then but Wildcat had applied for the funds already, and so we have reached out and had conversations with USU to make sure that we can still maintain that partnership. And really, the discussions, as Talia had mentioned, this grant's only for 3 years, but the discussion was much bigger. It was, okay, we get this program in here, and this kind of falls in line as well with Commissioner Harvey's economic mobility grant funds. And that whole project was really to connect Native Americans into small business and have what the Wildcat program does is it mentors and tutors anybody that wants to go into small business all through the process. So you get them in, and how do I apply for loans? How do I do a market plan? And how do I get all the research? And now I'm a business. How do I register for a business? Now, how do I file my taxes? And we didn't want, and Talia had mentioned this to me, and it's stuck in my head, is, for in San Juan County, particularly, it takes about 3 years of time to really figure out if the small business is going to be successful or not. Typically, on a national average, it's about 2 years where you know whether or not a small business is going to be successful. Here, it's 3, and so imagine we get into the Wildcat program, after 3 years, it's gone. Well, we need to work really hard with USU in sustainability and finding programs. One of the things that in that discussion was, as a state collectively, we really need to look at where we're putting our efforts. A Small Business Development Center is crucial in those counties that have low income, high poverty, that high food insecurity. I mean, that fits all of us on all 3 of those levels.
It does.
And so they really need to focus at the educational standpoint and those services offered, targeting these counties that are like that. We're decreasing in population, so we line up all of the things that the state really should be focused on pushing resources to. And so with this effort, it's a start.
Yeah.
And then Talia will continue to grow it. She's got a lot of connections with nonprofit organizations that we can engage to help us. And we're at that point then, like she had mentioned, more of a pass-through for this, but yet it satisfies the requirements and things that we're trying to do on an economic mobility standpoint, so that in the end we have sustainability. That's our biggest goal and effort out of this is to create systems that are sustainable, that if anything goes away, the program still stays. And so that's really kind of the impetus to get it here, get it going, and then we'll work with USU and other partners to try to get that sustainability in here. USU is committed to this. They've even volunteered space if we need space down in the new Monument Valley Center. They're like, hey, you can have some cubicle space in here and count that as in kind. And so they're a partner kind of behind the scenes.
And
with
they're
us.
going to have a full-time person doing community development and that.
Yeah, we'll be
USU
actually in
campus.
workforce development. We'll be working with them closely to do that. I think too that also addresses one of the issues that we see continually are people within it's the trust too with the county. And so as we have it moved out to, I really am a big believer that local solutions to local challenges. And if they are able to run those on the local level and we're supporting those efforts, then that's when we're going to see the most success. And also that's part of the process that we're doing with these even micro grants is I want to train them how to do the grant, but also so that they can apply and manage their own grants later on, because they don't have to do it just through us. So I think that's key. But yeah, and we are really lucky to have good partners and people who are reaching out and excited to partner with us, actually.
And
So,
there's lots of good things going in Miami Valley, as you were kind of involved before you
Yep.
came with us.
yep, still helping out there too. Yeah, we
So
went
just-
out work. So yeah, but
Thank you so much.
thank you. Okay.
And you brought a guest too, right?
Oh, yes.
Deborah. Yes.
You guys, I'm terrible. I have no manners. Steph, come on up.
She's-
So this is you actually approved this a couple of meetings ago.
Yeah.
I think so. So this is Deb Brown. And she is actually here helping me as we work to revitalize the chamber. And also teaching me and mentoring me too, because I'm new in this position, of how I can help bring communities together to have their ideas kind of come to fruition. Where it's not, the impetus is not all on me, which is really hard because I have a doer personality, so I have to remember to share. But she's
So
amazing.
Yesterday, for example, we visited a couple of businesses and just talked to them, asked them, what would you like to see in the community? And the answers are always interesting, I think. They're not so far apart. They're opposing businesses, am I right?
Yeah.
But overall, they're about the community, they're about the county. So that was good for her to hear, I think, you know, because I ask a ton of questions because I want to know the weird stuff. What does this rock do? You know, and she's talking to the other fellow that had been involved with the Economic Development Board prior, and she didn't know that. So that was another connection for her to meet. We were working on chamber stuff this morning, and it's just dotting the I's and crossing the T's and finding all the appropriate paperwork and people that want to serve on that board. So that'll be fun. It's a countywide chamber.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you.
Nice.
Yes.
We
Perfect.
need it.
It'll be fun.
Well, I'm
So,
glad
yeah,
you're back.
So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll be here through Friday.
Perfect.
Yep.
Yep. Thank you. Hi,
Okay.
everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Talia.
Okay, so the next item is,
So a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding
okay,
between San Juan County and Weber State University Wildcat
so we have,
Microfund.
we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, now we are to item number 7.
Yes, consideration and approval of the purchase of a fire brush truck. Our fire chief, Dave Gallegos.
Look at the smile he has.
I know.
I shouldn't because he hasn't been
It
approved,
looks
right?
so beautiful though, all the things that, all the pictures.
Yeah. Good morning. Thank you for having me. In front of you, it's a consideration of approval of a fire truck. This is money that we use for the PC, and the PC is usually $158,000 a year. This year, I'm planning on using $143,000 to purchase this truck, and then I'll be back next year to finish paying off the rest of it. The total amount is $198,000, and next year I'll probably budget $58,000 to finish paying it off. So this will cover 2 years for our PC with the state. PC participating commitment, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. It's a project work that we do. We used to just write a check out to the state, but they changed it to where the money stays within the county, and now we do project work and purchase fire trucks. So, any questions?
I just excited. I just love when we have the funds to make our life a little bit easier, having a new truck, you know. And it's, I'm so happy for you because I think it's gonna look like it's gonna be able to do lots of good things with that. We're getting lots of trucks. I hope the road department, whoever maintains the trucks, I decided to get new things instead of keep fixing the old things. But
Yeah.
anyway, so
A year ago, I was asked what my plan was to rotate the trucks because they're getting old. And this is a perfect opportunity to do that. It'll be a slow process, but
so just so that we understand the process how it's done, because we always we have people that come. In my old job, we call it requisition. Did you guys use another word that memorized it, but I already forgot it. Anyway, when we request the process that you go through, and I just do so sometimes we can educate people, you know, how the process, how we go. So when you decide that you want a truck, that you work with Mac, 'cause that's how you do, and then you guys check where the money's coming from and all the.
unfortunately, it's coming out of the general funds. But that's something we have to do
No matter what.
because of the state
Yeah, it's
rules.
This is one of those, and Commissioner Adams oftentimes hated these. It's a state mandate where we have to spend the funds, and it's better for us to spend them on ourselves instead of giving the check to the state. They allow us to use our funds for equipment, and this truck is a prime example where we are able to utilize our own funds, our own resources, instead of send the money to the state to do it. And so all of it goes into prevention and fire mitigation to really help the citizens here at a local level. But no matter what, we have to spend this money somewhere.
That's correct.
So the process, you see, you apply, I mean, you talk to Max, you apply, and now our job is
To approve or
to
disapprove.
Approve or disapprove.
Yeah, this
And so-
has already gone through the state. By the way, we provide the money and then they tell us how to spend it.
Right.
I'll never understand that, but
Yeah.
it's just one of those things.
I know they have those kind of bills going on the in the Capitol right now, and that's where we go to try to say, I don't think they'll work for our county, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
So anyway, thank you, and
Yep.
we have a motion.
A motion to approve 143,000.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you, commissioners.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay.
Can we get a ride in the parade?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay, item number 8, consideration and approval to update the standard service contract for the Hideout Community Center roof repairs between San Juan County and Tough Blind Installers Incorporated. Sam, our facilities director, is here.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So this is an update to a contract that was already approved in a commission meeting in December. What happened is the roofing company brought out some additional staff to look at the situation, and they decided they need to approach these repairs a little bit differently, which changed the scope and the cost of the contract. So this is basically an update to that original contract that was approved. I need to apologize. I know you don't have a copy of the contract itself in your packet. What happened is the county attorney's office kicked that back to me Friday afternoon after I had left for the long weekend. They wanted a change of an address. I've changed that address, but they haven't yet approved that. I don't know if they need to do that. It was just an address change, and I've made that, so I don't know. I have a hard copy here if you need that, or if we need to have the county attorney's office review it again. I'm not sure what we need to do there.
It's just the address. That's all he commented.
That's all he wanted was a change of the PO box
So you
on the
can,
county
you can
attorney's
make
office.
the copy and we can sign it?
I have a. Can I go ahead? So with that contract, how soon would you start the work?
We're probably looking at about 2 weeks from now. They should be starting the re-roofing project in the LaSalle Senior Center right about now, sometime this week. Once they're done with that, then they'll be moving over to the hideout.
Because I was just saying, if we waited for the contract, would we have enough time from when we get the contract in the packet next time we meet to approve it? Or is it time sensitive? I mean, it is time sensitive, but
Yeah,
is it pushing it? That's my
it's close.
So you would be
We're not meeting
It'd be
this
March
next time.
18th. Would
Oh,
be
that's
in the
right. We
commission
don't meet on the
meeting.
4th.
Oh, right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I guess if we approved it, do you mind emailing it to us so we can see it?
Yeah,
When you
absolutely.
get it
Well, I've got a hard copy here. I've got a copy
Okay.
for each of you here if you'd
Oh,
like.
okay.
Yeah,
It just hasn't received the final approval from the attorney's office because of that address change.
Okay.
It's the only thing that's holding it up.
Thank you.
So
I have a question. Last night I had about half an hour sitting looking at the building. You know how the roof goes this way?
yes,
Whether I wonder where does the melted snow go if you have a building going like this and you have the middle.
there are some drains
In
in
the
the room
roof?
in that center section to collect all the rainwater and drain it.
And when you have lots of snow without creating any damage, I saw that thinking, okay, who designed a building anyway.
Yeah, it's an architectural feature that is pretty.
Somebody
mostly
was
for aesthetic
creative and
readings,
trying to.
But yeah, it's pretty common. It's not inherently a problem.
I was thinking, especially Monticello, they get lots of heavy, wet snow. So I was thinking, anyway. But I had time there to think about the roof. But anyway,
the design of the roof isn't necessarily a problem. It was more of an installation construction issue when the building was first put together.
So the new things that you guys are doing is because it was more damage than it was previously thought on the roof?
Not more damage, just a little different approach to the repair than what the first estimator from the roofing company had in mind. So
About a year ago, 2 years ago, that roof system, and it's all a membrane roof. So if you think of just kind of like a rubber band roofing type system across the whole thing, started to come undone. It's been an interesting process and a long journey, but our maintenance staff went over and refastened it so that it was secure, because we didn't want that wind to uplift that membrane roof and pull the whole thing off. And so they had gone over and kind of saved the day. We had reached out. So the hideout isn't that old, and typically roofs are about a 25-year warranty on it. We had reached out to the company that should have warrantied it, and they told us no, that they're not going to warranty it, that it was more of a builder error on everything. And so at that point in time, we went back. Sam had researched and tried to get anybody that would come to the area and give us a quote. We had a company that came out and looked at all of our roof system. This is back when we had CARES Act funds available. So it's been years ago. We could not get a bid returned from any of the contractors that we had looked for. And so fortunately with the project here, we did find the roofer that would come in and repair our roofs here and the jails. And at that point we're like, hey, we have these other roofs, can we get them funded as well? And so that's kind of when we kicked it in gear to this company to go over and help us. And so it's been a long time coming, but a long needed project to take place.
yeah, I don't know if any of you have been involved personally needing any construction services or anything, but COVID and post-COVID, it's been very difficult to get on a contractor schedule. So I think things are starting to calm down a little bit now, and we're starting to get a little bit more
What is
more
so
options.
nice, so nice all the work you guys have done in this building. I mean, it's just so nice because it gives a life for many years to come. Such a beautiful building, and to have all the heating replaced. I mean, that's a big job beside the roof, and I appreciate that. So,
Yep.
I just have one follow-up,
Okay.
if I may.
okay.
So how long is this project supposed to take place? A couple weeks?
Yeah. Yep,
Okay.
just a couple of weeks.
All right, thank you.
Any more? Do you have any question? No question, no comments. Shall we have a motion? Anybody want to make a motion? Make a motion?
I'll motion to
Okay.
approve for 10,820 for the contract.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sam.
Okay, now we are to,
Okay, let me get back up to the top.
okay, we are to commission report. Anybody want to go first? Commission.
What's report? Other than legislative session, and I did attend the TRT bill that was being heavily gone back and forth. That was obviously discussed in UAC, and then when I left on Friday, it had successfully passed through its, I don't know all the levels, but it had been in a committee review and they gotten approval for that. So we'll see where that goes, because that can hopefully benefit us as a county in a great way. So, but other than that, just continue
Just
in
keep
the
going.
legislative
Just
sessions. Yep.
keep
Just
going.
keep watching the bills. So.
Yeah. Commissioner Harvey?
I actually traveled down to Window Rock, Arizona last week. I think it was on a Wednesday to attend a Navajo Utah Commission meeting. Navajo Utah Commission had supported the county in getting a clarification from the Navajo Nation Department of Transportation about whether or not they would continue their contract for NDOT with our county, and whether the tribe would draw down what is owed to the county for the past 3 years. Navajo Nation Department of Transportation has a new director now, Tom Platero. He was there. He addressed the commission, including myself, to explain that the Navajo Department of Transportation had been going through some restructuring. And he has now come to his final restructuring of the department and has assigned specific staff to work on memorandum of or contracts for road maintenance. But we, San Juan County, Utah, aren't the only contractors that the Navajo tribe works with. The Navajo Nation Department of Transportation explained that they are also behind on payment with the state of Arizona and the counties that Navajo Nation roads are contracted with through ADOT, as well as with New Mexico. And so they are working all three states. And so they've made it a priority within the past couple of months to go through all the 3 states and their counties and their agreements to get them updated. There is a very bureaucratic process with Navajo Nation, such thing as getting bar and suspension verifications, W-9s for contractors, and also signed disbarment forms that the federal government requires. They have finally finalized San Juan County's packet. What is left is the finalized packet needs to be submitted back to the Navajo Nation Council for final approval. Once Navajo Nation Council approves, it goes to the Navajo Nation President for signature. And once the signature is there, they have a complete packet to submit to the Navajo Nation Office of Controller, who then verifies through their documentation and process. All documents are in order so that the money can be transmitted to the county. In total, they mentioned $300,000. Sounds like the county gets $100,000 a year for maintaining the roads on Navajo Nation. So there is no more confusion. The county Navajo Utah Commission got the clarification for us. So all systems are go, and we should be in current with Navajo Nation Department of Transportation, fingers crossed, within the next month or two, because Navajo Department of Transportation has gone through their efforts of getting their payments and processes cleared. Bureau of Indian Affairs can now take their funds and match to NDOT's allocations and have updated figures. Then we can draw down, most likely from BIA, soon to follow. But we don't know those exact dates yet. So fingers crossed that things will be resolved and we will all be current. And
so how many years were behind? Were behind?
I think the first payment was drew down in 2001 but 2002, 2003, 2004 are the ones that were
Okay.
still overdue.
Okay.
So that was a huge undertaking.
That is a huge one.
And yeah, there was a protest going on at the same time on a different matter. So I've never been to a protest before. So it was quite interesting. But I do thank the county for the experience because it was lively, loud, and interesting.
That's good.
Attended Anna chapter meeting this past Sunday. There's a new chapter president. She's female. Her name is Dr. Karma Claw. She's also a graduate of Whitehorse High School. Vice President, his name is Bill Tudachitny. Secretary Treasurer, Gladina Yanito. And they look like a promising group. They were interested in my update on the roads that I just shared. And they are looking forward to having better communication with the county as well. One of the things that Anna chapter has requested is perhaps the county could support the community in obtaining an update about the water settlement funds from the state. And the chapter says they haven't had any updates in a while, and they would like to know where the status of the funds are, how much funds have been utilized, what projects have been prioritized with the water settlement funds, what the project listing is for the water settlement projects within the Utah Strip of the Navajo Nation, and should they have any questions, who they can talk to for clarification about Anna's water settlement projects. So that's the request that I come with here to this commission is if we can support Anna chapter in obtaining a representative from our state who can speak to Navajo Nation water rights settlement, who has a priority listing. I think the Utah chapters would benefit from that update.
Yeah.
That's my report.
I
Chair.
can talk to, I am served with the 7 county and the 7 county commissioners. They have a contract. They have received some funds to go do studies in the south part of the county and the reservation part. And so I can ask the engineers some of the findings. I know I've been working with them trying to figure out a solution for Halchita. Halchita, they're so close to the river, but, you know, it's all a rock. How you take pipe through the rocks, and then you have to process the water. So we're working, trying to figure out a solution, and right now we're waiting for the legislature to be over so we can start talking about some more. And I can see what else they have information on the other areas. Anyway, one of the things I have been doing, most of our counties in the state of Utah have housing issues. And I would say that we have a house crisis. So one of the things I have been doing, I just kind of got together a group of different areas. You know, like we have people from up north, we have people from Setla, we have people from the college, we have other organizations are gonna add Navajo Health System this time, and we try to have. Instead of having a meeting once in a while, trying to concentrate, and the purpose is for us is to see what's available, what is out there, to be creative, you know, and trying to figure out how we can get housing. Because the problem is we can have jobs, if people come and they cannot find housing, it's very, you know, discouraging. People don't stay or they don't take their jobs. We had two industry in San Juan County. They are really growing. One is a copper mine, and we have energy fuel, which is really developing lots of the earth minerals, and they just did an amazing contract with the Navajo Nation. I just can't believe Energy Fuel have done things. That's an amazing way how we can cross the barriers. One time when I was in a meeting with some guests I brought from up north, and we were talking about minerals, and a person from the Navajo Nation said, I wish people come and clean up, but we have lots of sites. And, that's something we couldn't do as a county, go do it. But in the process of Energy Fuel getting permission for them to travel through the reservation with their cargoes of minerals and supplies that they need to go back and forth, as a part of the project, they're gonna go to those sites, and they can scoop that stuff and they can bring it to their site, and they can analyze it. They can separate the uranium from the dirt, and then they can look for also other critical minerals. So it's totally a win-win situation. The Navajo people experience such moments because the uranium in the early 50s and even to the 60s, where they were doing uranium here in San Juan County. In San Juan County in those days was the second richest county in Utah. And we went from the second to almost to the bottom now, but because of the uranium. But people were not, when they were processed uranium, you get what I call a yellow cake, and it's a beautiful yellow material, and the natives start using it for painting. They paint all the cups, and the uranium was just left, the yellow cake was just left in the sites, and so created lots of, cancer and different things. And so they're very insecure when it comes to uranium. But Energy Fuel is an amazing company. They have been hiring people, educating some of the students up in the high schools down south, so the students can learn how to work within the science, to understand the science, and there's amazing things that are happening with uranium, because you can get it's not a heater. I mean, size of a water heater. You can put uranium, and you can have it for 30 years, and you can use this in that container, and they can plug it to connect it to each other. So amazing things that can happen with San Juan County. So anyway, with the health situation, I would say I've been working with people from SELA. We're gonna have the main person from the SELA come to San Juan County, and we're gonna be able to work about possibility lands that can be used for housing. And it is a kind of a slow process. There's not that many places available to build in some of the cities, like in Blanding area. People don't want to sell the land and save it for children's and different things. But I kind of I feel really good. Mac is part of he was invited to participate, and so I'll have more to report about that. But anyway, so I'm very optimistic of our future, but I think in the meantime we have to kind of just keep working and keep bringing good people that can help us. And anyway, thank you. So do we have one more motion? Who wanted to make the last motion? This is the shortest. Do you want to make it?
Sorry, Commissioner, I don't mean to prolong our report, but I forgot to mention in my report, Bluff, Utah, the city of Bluff has built their EMS staff, and
Oh, good.
one of the concerns they shared was just really more of a question about response. And I think the one thing that I'm aware of is that when there's a call out, they're not calling out bluff. They're meaning possibly central intake from Price. And they're actually calling out either Kayenta. The point is, anyone except Bluff is being asked to respond, and maybe there's just some miscommunication there. So, Mac, I'd like the opportunity to drop into public safety as I travel up tomorrow and visit with the director. I think our county would benefit from public safety coming to our rural towns like Bluff and Blanding to revisit the response protocol that is there, to see if maybe the communities themselves, the EMS groups themselves, might have better recommendations that might support strengthening that EMS system. So that's one thing I think I wanted to highlight. And then finally, in regard to Commissioner, your report on the uranium with Energy Fuels in Navajo Nation. Right now, that is a controversial issue with our Utah chapters because they are expressing concern about exposure. That should not pit us in any way politically. It's more about asking the question, how can we help strengthen the communities in our county on understanding what changes have been made for safety, but also strengthening the chapters themselves to become their own personal response folks. And the areas they really need support with are Utah chapters, the chapters who live alongside the transport routes, is this. Number one, they need help with technical assistance in writing their own local emergency response plan, specifically to responding to a uranium emergency should it happen. They are in need of figuring out what those protocols are. Who do they call? How do they get involved? And what is in place currently? And where do they fit in that response? So they need support in drafting their own response plan. That's one thing. Number two, they need the equipment because the tribe does not have any emergency funds to give to the local chapters. So you have local leaders who not only do not know what to do should that time arise on how to respond, but they have no one trained nor the equipment to help respond to an emergency. So if we could articulate these needs for our chapters in our county to our representatives, to our senators, to Congress, we can help make it a win-win situation with Energy Fuels. So that's just something I want to highlight for us as commissioners, is that's how we can support the chapters. Just the same with the need to educate our community members in the ordinance that we're trying to pass for our county. The tribes, the chapters in our counties need that support to get educated on safe uranium transport, getting them ready for preparedness, and getting them the equipment they need to effectively respond when the time should come. So that's how we can help. Thank you, Commissioner.
I think a couple of things will be helpful is to get hold of the agreement, the Energy Fuels, sign up with them and see. And the other thing is we'll have Congressman Kennedy gonna come to the county, and he talked to me, he asked me when that would be a good time. I told him maybe about April, something like that. They'll come. He really wants to be involved and come into that area, so that'll be really good. And I was going to suggest to them that they can put a Navajo ad on the radio, just and then soon that we're done with the legislature, we can start planning on that. He was very easy to talk to, don't you think? Anyway, well, I guess now we are to one more. Are we having another? Are we just joining the meeting, or are we going to another meeting? This is it. We don't have any other.
Tomorrow you do have that meeting with the where we've been invited up with the governor.
Oh, yeah, I know that,
at 1
but
o'clock.
after this meeting, we don't have any other meeting.
No,
Okay.
nothing that's with the commission.
Okay, so
Motion to adjourn.
I'll
Commission
second
meeting?
it.
all in favor?
I
Aye.
Aye. Wow, look at this. This is the earliest we get out.
12:10.
It was the